Hi, Paraton Weather Meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, August 18th. A lot to talk about this morning. We have the remnants of Fred pushing northeastward, now situated over West Virginia. It will produce some heavy rainfall to the north and west of the I-95 corridor region for the most part, but there will be bands of showers and thunderstorms sweeping all the way to the coast. Any shower or thunderstorm today in the Mid-Atlantic region can produce some heavy rainfall. The air is full of moisture, tropical moisture associated with the remnants of Fred. We still have Tropical Storm Grace headed westward towards the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico and likely continue westward after that right into the country of Mexico. And Tropical Storm Henri out over the Atlantic Ocean. Very worrisome, and we'll talk about the reasons why. All residents along the eastern seaboard should pay close attention to Henri, especially those living along the New England coastline. The North Atlantic Oscillation is sending a red flag about this particular system out over the western part of the Atlantic Ocean. We'll talk about that too over the next couple of minutes. First of all, here's the latest radar loop from the College of DuPage weather website. You really can see the circulation associated with the remnants of Fred right now over West Virginia, continuing to push to the northeast. The heaviest rainfall today will no doubt be to the west of the I-95 corridor region, out across West Virginia, western and northern part of Pennsylvania. However, any one of these bands on the southeast side of this, the remnants of Fred, can cause some showers and thunderstorms in the I-95 corridor region, and the air again is so humid that any shower or storm can produce some heavy rainfall in D.C., Philadelphia, or New York City. It reaches New York City mostly late in the day and tonight. But again, if you're in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania, you will very likely not end up with as much rain as those living in central Pennsylvania. D.C. area, those on the west and north side of the district will certainly get more rainfall than those on the south and east side of the district. But again, watch out for some localized flooding with any shower or storm that does form in the I-95 corridor region. Well, let's take a look at the big picture and how things shape up in terms of the location for these three tropical systems. Again, we just saw the rotation of the remnants of Fred right over West Virginia, continuing to push northeast direction, again producing some heavy rainfall on the western side of the Mid-Atlantic region today. But even in the I-95 corridor region, there can be some showers and storms that put down a lot of rain in a short period of time. Meanwhile, Grace, tropical storm, likely to become a hurricane before it reaches this part of Mexico. This is the Yucatan Peninsula. Continues on a westward track, crosses over Yucatan, probably ends up right into this part of Mexico. Again, could become a hurricane before reaching the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico, and then continues to move to the west as it's influenced by strong high pressure ridging over the western Atlantic. Meanwhile, that high pressure ridging right in this region right here is having an influence on Tropical Storm Henri, or Henry, however you want to phrase it. It is only moving slowly right now. Will continue to drift towards the east coast over the next few days, kind of meandering about because it's underneath that high pressure ridge, and it will come awfully close to the eastern seaboard, and all residents along the eastern seaboard in this area have to really closely monitor the movement of this tropical storm. The NAO, which we'll show in a second here, is strongly negative, indicating a blocking pattern is indeed setting up to the north here. We typically track that NAO during the wintertime for blocking patterns, but it can play a role. It can certainly raise a red flag this time of the year for a potential block, and that could allow Henry to move farther to the north and west and awfully close, too close for comfort, to the eastern seaboard, especially to those residents in southern New England, where it could turn and have an impact, perhaps a direct impact, over the weekend or into the early part of next week. And here is the North Atlantic Oscillation. The black represents the observed values over the past couple of months, several months, and the red, the forecasted values. And look at this, negative territory over the next couple of weeks, and that typically suggests there's a blocking pattern up across the North Atlantic, and a blocking pattern with a potential hurricane out across the Western Atlantic raises red flags for the eastern seaboard, and something we'll have to factor in over the next few days. And let's talk about that blocking pattern over the North Atlantic, the southeastern part of Canada. We've really focused in on this high pressure region over the southeastern part of Canada that is extending down across the Western Atlantic. And here is a reflection of 500 millibars this morning for that tropical storm Henri. And Grace, meanwhile, down in this part of the Caribbean Sea, headed westward right towards the Yucatan Peninsula region. Watch what happens here over the next couple of days. That high over the Western Atlantic tends to pull back to the north over the late week time period, and that kind of opens the door for this system to start drifting awfully close to the eastern seaboard, and it again very likely will intensify into hurricane status in the near term over the next 12, 24, 36 hours or so. We'll have to watch that. In fact, this particular run of the GFS model has it turning close enough that it ends up hitting New England here over the upcoming weekend, and a very strong tropical storm, perhaps a hurricane at this particular time. This is certainly on the table. The NAO going into negative territory, suggesting that this is a possibility. Look at this blocking pattern right here over the southeastern part of Canada. That indeed can allow Tropical Storm Henri to drift far enough to the north and west that it could have an impact on the eastern seaboard. So again, I want to emphasize all residents really from the Carolinas up across New England, and especially in New England, have to closely monitor the movement of Tropical Storm Henri over the next couple of days. Well, now let's focus in on the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS at 6E. Here we have the remains of Fred now over West Virginia, producing some heavy rainfall over West Virginia, the western part of Virginia, upstate Pennsylvania today, and then ultimately into New York and New England. And there can be these bands of showers and storms that push through the I-95 corridor region. And again, any shower or storm today in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City tonight can cause some heavy rainfall in a short period of time. And here is Tropical Storm Henri. And watch what happens here with the GFS model run over the next few days. By tomorrow morning, the remnants of Fred push all the way up into New York State. Still some lingering showers and storms along the I-95 corridor region in the overnight hours into the early morning hours on Thursday. And then as that high starts to kind of retreat a little bit to the north, this system starts to push to the north and west right towards the eastern seaboard. And by the time we get to the weekend, take a look at this. When you have a system like this, a 967 millibar potential hurricane sitting that close to the New Jersey, Long Island, raises a red flag, something that has to be closely monitored, and especially for southern New England. There is the chance that this system pushes right into southern New England over the upcoming weekend. And again, all as a result of that high pressure system, a potential block in the atmosphere over southeastern part of Canada. And here we go, by the time we get to Monday, it's moving north along the Maine coastline, according to the model run from last night at 6E by the GFS. So a lot of rainfall today in the Mid-Atlantic region, especially the western half of the Mid-Atlantic region on the western side of Route I-95. But even in the immediate I-95 corridor, there can be some showers or storms that produce some significant rainfall in a short period of time. And then attention turns to Tropical Storm Henri, especially if you're along the eastern seaboard, the northern part of the East Coast. Pay particular attention to this system over the next couple of days, as we will hear at ParatonWeather.com. That's it for now. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.